Normally, I would throw up gameplay of the servants that we're going to be talking about in this video, but then I realized that most people probably don't even know that there's going to be a daily summoning campaign going on for the 7th anniversary because, let's be honest, we're all concerned with this, right? This is the main thing we're all concerned with, and then it's going to be these summer servants that come out right afterwards. So when I was thinking about making a video for this, I was like, oh, I'll just like throw in background good footage to kind of like show how good a lot of these servants are. But then again, I kind of came to the conclusion that people probably don't even know there's going to be this raid up over here. And even if you do, you might not be summoning for it. But I did want to make a little video talking about some of the highlighted servants on here. A few of them are servants that are going to be getting buffs relatively soon in the case of, say, someone like Voyager, or in, can't even say the near future, but in the future in the case of, say, Summer Musashi. So I did want to highlight these, in case you're someone that is, racking up just thousands of Saint Quartz you've been saving for a long time, or maybe you're a whale, or you didn't know that these guys were going to be getting a raid up, or you might even be a newer player and you're like, okay, well, I went ahead and I got Castoria on the GSSR and I need to know if, say, Berserker Musashi is a really good AoE art slipper that I can go pull for. So just kind of wanted to make this a little PSA, but as always, if you enjoy these type of videos, you enjoy the daily FGO content grind, I'd appreciate a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But let's start diving right into this. So the first servant that I think is actually low-key a highlight is MHX over here. Now, she's fine, like as a servant, she is good. It only took them buffing all of her skills and her NP, but for that same reason, it's almost kind of like an Emiya or a Saber Artoria situation where they're kind of an investment because you have a decent bit of Saint Quartz you're able to get back from summoning for this servant, right? If you are able to get them, relatively easily. I mean, obviously you don't really get much in the investment if you go all 900 in for the pity, but it is one of those neat things that not only do you get a pretty decent servant, but you get like, what, 12 Saint Quartz back, plus maybe an additional 10 if you hit one of those mission milestones. I think it's a little bit funny. Obviously, you could go out of your way to use somebody like Tyra or MHX Alter, who are definitely, I would say, better than MHX over here. But if you're a Saberface enjoyer like myself, and you're looking to get a little bit of Saint Quartz back on your summon, I mean, that's almost half your multi back if you're able to get her in a relatively cheap amount. She's someone to be looking out for. And again, she's not bad. Single target assassins, I would say, aren't in the same position that they were a couple of years ago, where it pretty much was just Kama. Now you have somebody like a King Hassan, who's also a top tier contender as well. But MHX is not bad. If you want to go ahead and use her, she's not a terrible servant. Now, Musashi, I think, is one of the main ones that a lot of people are going to be going for I'm sure plot reasons, right? Just the strength of her character, let's just say. But she is one of those servants that I'm sure a lot of people are going to be wondering, oh, do I go for this servant? I know she can loop really well, but in the advent of Summer Ibuki coming out or Summer Melusine coming out, is this servant worth going for? I would still say yes. I do still use Summer Musashi, even on the NA side of things, where I would say, better arts loopers. She's just really good sometimes. Her ability to loop like an absolute maniac because of this right here, having a fat NP gain skill, even with no battery, does make her really, really nice, if you need to go loop some particularly hard stages. Now, yeah, having no battery does make things a little bit more unfortunate in, say, a 90 plus or 90 plus scenario, because she can get a good chunk of her NP back. I mean, we're talking like 80 to 90% against 2 enemies, but no battery means she can't recover on her own. So that is a little unfortunate, but they did toss her a bone recently with this right here, seeing that they gave her this anti-servant, or not anti-servant, but anti-saber power mod that is really strong. Normally these are 150. For reference, this starts at 200 and goes up to 300. So, I mean, she's basically invalidating most of the archers as well, because she just absolutely slam dunks on sabers, right? Which is something she should have had originally. I don't know why they gave her the ceiling for Saber NPs. I mean, it has come up in a couple of challenge quests, because you could make the argument as well that she is more of a challenge quest servant than she is a farming servant. I mean, just look at like this skill, for instance, giving her guts, pierce, invul, things you don't really need when you're doing farming. And then also having the low cooldown dodge over here is very strong as well. But again, she's still fine for looping nodes if you want her to be able to do that. Again, you might have to do some multi-core setups if you want her to be your main farmer, right? You might have to bring, say, a sub AoE unit or a sub single target unit to take out some other guys, but she's still very, very nice. And especially with this coming out recently on JP, she's a pretty dang good servant if you're going to be bringing her against Saber enemies. So she's very good for that. Ilia is another one that I think should be kind of looked out for, just because she does a lot of damage as a single target caster with a 50% battery. She's still pretty high up there in my opinion. I prefer Sanzo a bit myself, just because I think the taunt is very nice. The team utility on the third skill I think is also very, very convenient. And I think Pierce defense is always, like, you know, fine to have. But Ilia is not too bad. Like, she's definitely a very strong contender as well, if you do want to go after her. I myself want to have all the costume servants at some point, so I was maybe considering it, but there's just too many broken servants coming out right now. I just can't afford to be summoning on this banner. But again, this video is more for people that maybe you do have some spare Sancors. Maybe you can go for some of these guys. Then finally, there's Voyager. I think Voyager is top contender right now if you want to summon on this, because we do have Ruler Scotty coming out during... It's like the 10th day into the summer event, I believe, is when she drops, and Voyager will be a super nice option. He's kind of like Dante's in the way that they're both extra class guys you can pretty much bring anywhere, but I, in some scenarios, do maybe prefer Voyager a little bit, just because you've got, like, really nice consistent damage with him, although it's really hard to argue with Dante's having a massive NP gain buff and a gigantic battery. But he's going to be getting a buff actually this anniversary, as you can see, which is really, really nice. You know, he's going to get this buff on his third skill over here that fixes one of the issues with Voyager. And that, I mean, that was the second skill, right? You know, the 20% quick up is nice, but it's not nearly enough. And if you're going to pop this early on to get the NP gain and the damage, as you probably should be doing, you're missing out on this quick resistance down over here, which is really good for his damage. So they gave him a 30% buff, which is not only helping his damage on his NP and frankly his damage on his quick cards as well, but it's also giving him more NP gain. And having a quick mana burst for free for 3 turns, it's just always going to be good. You know, getting the increased damage, the NP gain, that's always very nice. Now, as for the other servants, I mean, I'm not saying that you can't go for, say, a Caster Nero over here, right? You know, I'm not saying that if you really wanted to, you can't go for Abigail Summer, because I believe she's also getting buffed, right? She's getting the Buster Up. No, that is next anniversary. My bad. That's next anniversary. She gets a Buster Up skill to try to make her a little bit better. But if you want to go for them, that's perfectly fine. I just don't really think they're the highlight units to be going for. You know, with Voyager getting a buff this anniversary, that makes him really good as a top tier quick contender. And if you really want to use Ruler Scotty, she's not bad to consider, you know, maybe going for. Same thing for Berserker Musashi over here. People might be wondering, no battery, do I still go for this servant? No, she's still really good. Has an upcoming buff, quote unquote, that makes her really, really nutty good. And then, I mean, MHX, I think, is one of those sleeper options that nobody really gives her enough credit for, you know, with how good she actually is. So I'm not saying you can't go for Shiki either. I mean, Shiki continually gets buffs as well. And the nice thing is that even if, say, you're going to be foregoing this banner to try to, you know, save quartz on another banner, you can still get Zhufu. She's on rate up. Zhufu, I think, is very, very strong to get. I mean, you'll get her anyway. You can see that she's not limited. She's not story locked. You'll come across her eventually, but she is just such a nice, like, free-to-play arts unit to have, right? Just a really, really strong option that everybody can have in their account. But again, that is, you know, assuming that you do have Saint Quartz for this. I'm assuming, like myself, everybody's going to be saving for the summer banners that are coming out, because I know myself, it's all right, try to go get Ruler Scotty. Do I have anything left over? All right, let's go for Lady Avalon, who I'm even trying to consider maybe skipping out on, because I have her on JP and I don't like doubling up on both accounts unless they're absolutely necessary to have. But dude, Lady Avalon is just, she's just nice. It's a really good servant to have in your account. So even I'm considering, like, oh, maybe I gotta go try to get her. But one step at a time, let's go try to get Ruler Scotty. Now, before I go, I did just want to apologize and say that I have not been getting out those daily hunting quest guides. I've even been practicing them on stream. You know, when the JP live stream was up, we were trying to get some runs done to try to make a more low-end guide for people that, you know, don't have the most insane boxes. I've just had a couple of things come up in my own, like, personal life, and I'm trying to be on standby for them. Even, like, as of now, I'm still waiting to see if I get an update on whatever is going on. You know, y'all don't need to know, all right? It's my business. But, so I'm sorry about that. I really did want to get those out. I really did want to try to put out some nice, helpful stuff. But unfortunately, just wasn't in the cards. I'll still try to get out a couple of them if I can eke those in into some of my free time. But we'll see. We'll see. I just wanted to apologize, because I was like, yeah, I'm going to get them all done. And then I ended up getting one done, and then everything just kind of started falling apart. I was like, oh man, no, I'm supposed to get all this stuff out. So hope you guys can forgive me on that one. I'll still continue to get out these daily videos. You know, it's not like that serious. It's like I don't have the mafia after me or anything like that. But with that being said, you know, I'm gonna keep getting these videos out. But with that, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.